But if you're the Lakers, you should want to trade him because he's not going to win with Luka. So if LeBron's not going to win with Luka, you might as well build.
Well,
for
my
the
thing is
future.
though, what do you get in return?
If you LA, right? You saw him in Cleveland. He went to several. He won one. You saw him in Miami. He went to several. He won one. In LA,
No, he won 2 in Miami.
he won a couple, but he went to several. My premise.
Yes.
In LA, he only went to one. So like, aren't your expectations higher when you're like, okay, in Cleveland, my dog went to, I think it was 4 straight, if I'm not mistaken. In Miami, he went to 4 straight. Now you come to LA, can I get a couple more appearances?
The moment Emmanuel Acho dropped his take on LeBron James being a failure in Los Angeles and suggested it might be time for the Lakers to move on, the internet lit up. Not because criticism of LeBron is new, but because this one hit at the heart of a debate that's been quietly building for years. Did LeBron actually accomplish what he was supposed to in LA, or did the era fall short of expectations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
ESPN's Dave McMenamin?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it. But yeah, the Cleveland Cavaliers would gladly sign LeBron James this summer if he were to return for a 24th season in the NBA. Fellas, do you guys think...
Outrageous.
I'm telling you. Do you guys think the Lakers should trade LeBron James? Or I'm not trade. He's free this season, right? Yeah. Do you guys think that LeBron should join the Cavaliers next season?
Well, let me ask y'all this. Should they trade him at the deadline?
Let's be real about the expectations. When LeBron James arrived in Los Angeles, this wasn't Cleveland. This wasn't Miami. This was the Lakers. A franchise where magic happens, where dynasties are expected, and where superstars aren't just measured by talent, but by how many championships they deliver. Kobe gave them 5, Magic gave them 5, Shaq delivered 3 in a row. So when LeBron walked into LA, the assumption wasn't, can he win one? It was, how many will he stack before he retires? And that's why the current reality feels underwhelming to a large portion of the fan base.
You not winning a chip with LeBron. So the question then becomes, can you win a chip with Luka? And if so, who do we need to put around Luka to win a chip?
Who's trading for the 41-year-old that? Like who's trading?
It's still
for that?
giving you 22 and 6.
Like who does he? It has to be a team that thinks I can win a championship with his presence, and that's the game changer. So if you think that LeBron's not a championship capable player at this point, where does he go?
Yes, LeBron delivered a championship in 2020. Nobody can take that away. A ring is a ring, but context matters. It happened in the bubble, under unique circumstances, without travel, without hostile crowds, without the pressure of traditional playoff environments. Some fans celebrate it fully, others put an asterisk beside it. Fair or not, that debate exists, and it affects how people judge his time in LA. Because outside of that one run, there hasn't been another finals appearance.
I don't. LeBron came out here, won a championship in a bubble. But you got to think about what being in LA has done for him as a global star. Like, you want to be out here because of the business that you can conduct it from out here. The people that you meet, the people, you're not getting that in Cleveland. And so, will it be a great story? Yeah, you finished where you started, you're born. But he's past that now. He left Cleveland, went back to Cleveland. That was his thank you. I don't see that happening. Like, why? He's more businessman LeBron now. And that's what he's on. And you conduct better business when you out
But
here.
if you're the Lakers, why would you want to keep LeBron?
You can't trade him. You can't. You can't
Number
trade LeBron
one,
for a
if
couple
you trade,
reasons.
what are you getting for LeBron?
That's the thing.
What are you getting for LeBron? Now, when Austin Reeves come back with LeBron, that hinders him. Because Austin Reeves is putting up 28 without him, 22 with him. And so that his usage for sure is going to drop. And so if you're the Lakers, you're in between a rock and a hard space. But you're not getting rid of LeBron.
Emmanuel Acho's point, and the reason it resonated, is rooted in expectations. In Cleveland, LeBron carried teams to the finals repeatedly. In Miami, he went to 4 straight and won 2. Even when the roster wasn't perfect, he found ways to compete at the highest level. But in Los Angeles, the dominance never materialized. Injuries, roster changes, chemistry issues, and front office decisions all played a role. Still, when you're labeled the greatest player of all time, excuses don't carry the same weight. People expect results, not reasons.
A team is not going to want to give the Lakers what the Lakers are going to want for LeBron. That's number one. And then for two, the NBA can't allow LeBron James to be traded for a bag of peanuts.
Absolutely not.
We can't have a trade that looks like LeBron James for a second round pick, the sixth man off the bench, and maybe one starter.
But given that because I think even he has a no trade clause, right? So he would have to want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it would only be Cleveland.
There's also the Anthony Davis factor. When AD arrived, the narrative was simple. This would eventually become his team. LeBron would lead early, then pass the torch. But that never really happened. AD showed flashes of dominance, especially during the 2020 title run, but injuries and inconsistency kept him from fully taking over the franchise. That left LeBron carrying the load far longer than expected.
Go to Cleveland, but your son's still on the Lakers. No,
Man, his son is in South Bay, brother.
it don't matter. He's still on the Lakers. You're not relocating your family to Cleveland because you do have a wife and a daughter.
Yeah.
They're gonna go with you.
Yeah.
And leave your son here?
That's just
Nah.
1 year on the road.
Nah.
That's where the frustration builds among critics. If LeBron is still the best player on the team this late in his career, what does that say about the roster construction? And if the Lakers couldn't build a championship machine around him with years to work, was the entire era mismanaged? Because this wasn't supposed to be a slow rebuild. This was supposed to be instant contention. The Lakers mortgaged young talent, draft picks, and flexibility to win now. They got one banner. For most franchises, that's a success. For the Lakers, it feels like unfinished business.
When you have a family
Brother.
and you tight,
We don't want to be.
I'm not doing that. They seem like they tight as a family, and they was he holding on for Bryce. Bryce Redshaw in Arizona, so he ain't coming out this year. So,
I'm not gonna lie, Bryce
nah.
not making the league, brother. This is not.
He
it's
not going to
happening.
Cleveland, bro.
No.
He not going to Cleveland.
The trade conversation adds another layer. On paper, trading LeBron sounds dramatic, even disrespectful. But in reality, it's complicated. He has influence, leverage, and control. There's the no-trade clause. There's his salary. There's his age. You're not just moving a player, you're moving a global icon. And what team is realistically giving up multiple assets for a 41-year-old making over $52 million? That's not a basketball decision alone. That's a business decision, a branding decision, and a cultural decision all wrapped into one. Some argue the Cavaliers make the most sense, a storybook ending where LeBron finishes where it all began. Others mention Miami, or even a surprise contender looking for veteran leadership. But the logistics are messy. Contracts would have to match. Teams would have to believe he's still a championship-level difference maker. And LeBron himself would have to sign off on the move. Without that, nothing happens. He holds the power. He always has.
Did he accomplish what he needed to accomplish in LA, in your mind?
Yeah, I think we're always gonna say, damn, we want more. But he won a championship here. He won, and for himself, from a professional standpoint, hell yeah. He forged relationships in the business world that could he have done in Miami or
I'm
Cleveland?
talking basketball.
Yes, he won a championship. Now, again, we greedy. We would want more. But when you start to look at some of these teams now and the way the NBA is being played now, back then it was you get 2 stars and you're going to win. So he got AD.
Then there's the bigger philosophical question. Can you still win a championship with LeBron as your centerpiece? That's the debate nobody wants to answer directly. He's still productive. He's still putting up numbers. He still commands defensive attention. But the league has changed. It's younger, faster, deeper, and built around players entering their prime, not exiting it. The Western Conference alone is stacked with talent, and the path to the finals is brutal every year. Critics say the Lakers need to build around the future, not the past. That means developing younger stars, constructing a roster for longevity, and letting go of the idea that LeBron will carry them one more time. It's a harsh reality, but it's the same reality every franchise eventually faces. Legends age, windows close, dynasties fade. The hardest part is recognizing when it's time to move forward.
You saw him in Cleveland. He went to several. He won one. You saw him in Miami. He went to several. He won one. In LA,
No, he won 2 in Miami.
he won a couple. But he went to several, my premise.
Yes.
In LA, he only went to one. So like, aren't your expectations higher when you're like, okay, in Cleveland, my dog went to, I think it was 4 straight if I'm not mistaken. In Miami, he went to 4 straight. Now you come to LA, can I get a couple more appearances?
But supporters push back hard. They point out that LeBron has still been one of the most impactful players on the roster. They argue that without him, the Lakers wouldn't even be competitive. They remind everyone that he delivered a championship when the franchise desperately needed one. And they question whether the problem is LeBron or the pieces around him. Because roster instability, coaching changes, and inconsistent support have defined much of his time in LA.
You did
I
what you
guess
were supposed
if
to
you're
do.
the greatest ever or one of, you go to LA, I would have just have assumed he would have accomplished more. Because remember, regardless, it's a championship, it's a championship, it's a championship.
Yeah.
Bubble championship, so people make fun of it.
They make fun of it because they didn't win it.
Yeah.
That's what they do. If they had won it, it would have been.
But you
legitimate.
telling me like Bron could only get to one?
Another angle that often gets overlooked is the business side. Los Angeles amplified LeBron's global brand. Hollywood connections, media ventures, production companies, and business relationships flourished there. His presence wasn't just about basketball. It was about influence, legacy, and empire building. Cleveland can't offer that. Miami can't match that scale. LA is a different universe. And that matters when you're thinking about life beyond the court. The Bronny factor complicates things even more. Playing alongside his son was a historic moment, something LeBron openly chased for years. That emotional element ties him to the Lakers in a way statistics and contracts can't explain. Family matters. Legacy matters. And leaving LA could mean disrupting something bigger than basketball. That's not an easy decision for any player, especially one who's always been deeply connected to his family. Still, the criticism keeps coming. Some fans believe the Lakers underachieved. Others think LeBron stayed too long. Some blame injuries. Others blame management. And a loud segment insists he was never meant to dominate LA the way Kobe did. Because Kobe's identity was tied to the franchise, LeBron's identity has always been tied to his journey, moving from team to team, chasing opportunities and challenges. That's where the GOAT debate creeps in again. Michael Jordan's legacy feels untouchable because it was built on dominance and championships in one primary environment. Kobe's legacy is tied to loyalty and rings in purple and gold. LeBron's legacy is different. It's about longevity, versatility, and impact across multiple eras and teams. But for some fans, that difference makes it harder to crown him as the greatest. The truth probably sits somewhere in the middle. LeBron didn't fail in LA. A championship alone prevents that label. But did the era meet expectations? That's where opinions split. For a generational player with sky-high standards, one ring doesn't feel like a dynasty. It feels like a moment. And moments fade faster than legacies. What happens next defines everything. If LeBron stays and the Lakers rebuild around younger talent, his role shifts. He becomes a mentor, a veteran leader, a piece of the system instead of the system itself. If he leaves, the narrative changes instantly. Suddenly, LA becomes a chapter instead of a final destination. And if he retires, the debates freeze in place forever, with no more games to reshape opinions. Emmanuel Acho's criticism may sound harsh, but it reflects a real sentiment among fans who expected more. Not out of hate, but out of belief in what LeBron represents. When you're held to the highest standard in sports, anything less than sustained dominance feels like a drop-off. That's the burden of greatness. You're not judged like everyone else. You're judged against history. And maybe that's the fairest way to look at it. LeBron didn't fail the Lakers. The Lakers didn't fail LeBron. The reality is more complicated. Injuries, timing, roster choices, and the natural aging of a superstar all collided at once. The result was a championship, but not a dynasty. Success, but not sustained control. Moments of brilliance, but not a full era of dominance. The final chapter hasn't been written yet. Whether he finishes in LA, returns to Cleveland, joins another contender, or walks away from the game entirely, the conversation will keep evolving. Because LeBron James isn't just a player, he's an era. And when an era starts to fade, the noise gets louder, the takes get hotter, and the debates get sharper. So the real question isn't whether LeBron was a failure in Los Angeles. The real question is what we expected in the first place. If the expectation was a dynasty, then yes, it fell short. If the expectation was a championship and sustained relevance late into his career, then he delivered. But if the expectation was perfection, that was never realistic. Legends don't always end their journeys with a parade. Sometimes they leave behind a complicated legacy filled with triumphs, debates, and unfinished what-ifs. And maybe that's exactly where LeBron's LA story belongs. Not as a failure, not as a flawless run, but as a powerful, imperfect chapter in one of the greatest careers basketball has ever seen. Now it all comes down to what happens next. Was LeBron's time in LA a success, or did it fall short of what a GOAT-level player is supposed to deliver? That debate isn't ending anytime soon. But I want to hear from you. Should the Lakers move on and build around the future, or ride it out with LeBron until the very end? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're rocking with real, unfiltered NBA takes like this, make sure you like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown.